Here.
Councilman Stat,
Here.
Councilman Crowley,
Present.
Councilman Frazier.
Here.
Can I ask everyone rise to salute the flag, please? You stay. He's gonna do. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey, you, just because I stood up doesn't mean you can go anywhere. Get back up here. I did. You know what you gotta do. You gotta go sleep. Stay there. All right. We have a motion to approve the December 8 minutes.
Motion to approve.
And a second,
I'll second.
any corrections or comments?
Look good.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Anybody here this afternoon or this evening, whatever it is, I've been here long enough, to address the board on any issue? Yes, sir. Your name?
Bob Sloan, should I sit there?
I don't know. It can pick up from here, can it?
It can, will you turn the, is it on?
It's on.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right?
A few things here. Back in October, I sent this to your email address. My name is Bob Sloan. I am the newly elected president of the Honeoye Valley Association.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
That was done in August, so one of my duties is to take on input from the community on various issues. And the paper that I'm handing out to you is the result of some of the more reasonable things that people have requested. Do you recall seeing this in your email at all?
This is my first week back in as supervisor. Supervisor Vastola was here.
Oh, okay, all right. So I apologize. So I'm making my rounds because I didn't really get much traction on it from either town that borders with Honeoye Lake. But the first item on here, and I realize I only have about 3 or 4 minutes, so I'm not gonna go through all of this. But the first item on here and the the fourth item. The first item is an aging population. Everybody loves the weed harvester. You know, everybody loves it. That's not true. What happens is the weed harvester cuts the weeds, and a lot of times it leaves things floating in the lake. And as a result of that, they float to the shoreline, and we have a secondary barge that comes around and picks up people who break the things into piles. What we're finding is that some of the aging people who own property can't readily rake those things up. There's also a problem in some of the areas where you can't get to it in a timely, where they can't get to it in a timely manner. And it came down to, well, possibly we need to add, take on a different line of thinking. So that line of thinking is in these 3 strategies. I've already approached the town of Richmond. I've already approached the county of Ontario. As a matter of fact, they gave me these numbers. That's the land.
Thank you.
The first strategy was to possibly put on a second barge for collecting the weeds that float up onto people's shorelines. That cost is in the first box here. And for the people here, it includes another work barge, a tilt deck trailer, and a custom conveyor in order to pull the weeds up. And that has a cost of around 100 grand, 120 grand. There was some funding for that conveyor, and that was done through DEC, and Richmond and Canadice paid for it. There is some maintenance and potential insurance. There are requirements for employees. And I know that both Richmond and Canadice share the cost of the weed harvester and those costs. The second strategy was a little less costly, It's where we create a second dump site at Sandy Bottom Park, use the same barge. What happens is the barge has like a 40 horsepower engine. So if they're in the north end of the lake, it takes them almost all day to get back down to the state boat launch to dump their boats. If we could create a second dump site at Sandy Bottom Park, it requires another conveyor and another dump truck. It will cut their travel time in half and possibly increase their efficiencies. Looked up, just did some Googling for a second towable conveyor. Because what happens is the barge picks up the weeds and then they put it on a conveyor, takes it up to a truck, and that truck then takes it away. That's at a public beach, so we have to figure out where those things are gonna go while people are on the beach. You don't wanna have a construction site there. And then the third strategy is a little more manual. That's where we hire some temps, get them a flat bottom boat and a decent size engine. And they go around and they actually rake up for some of these elderly people and people who can't do the work on their properties. It does require some residents' approval that let these people get on there, but it's probably the cheapest option right now. So I'm offering this both to the town of Richmond and to the town of Canadice as some strategies. I will be back in February. And hopefully you will take these things into consideration and maybe we could have a meeting on how best to proceed in order to help these folks out on the lake.
I will let you know that 2 weeks ago, I met with Betsy Landry and them over at planning in discussion of getting extra help for picking up shoreline weeds was one of the things that was on our agenda. And looking into doing some extra staffing with some younger, more rural labor to help with. So we are looking at that. We know that's an issue.
Oh, good.
And just, to remind you, both Richmond and Canadice had a change in leadership. So, expecting a lot within the first few weeks is expecting a lot. Now, Mike was at the,
Take 4 weeks.
take 4 weeks. Mike was at the meeting when we were talking with Betsy and stuff, and we do have a couple of things that we're gonna be working on. I'm gonna be looking at, because right now, we're running the extra personnel that's not running through our payroll. And we're looking at being able to pick up on a couple extra summer temps, college kids or something like
Sure,
that want some
yeah.
extra money to do that. So we are looking at that. That third option was something we've already started to
Oh,
discuss.
great, good, good.
So that third option to help with the weed collection is kind of in there. At one point in time, we used to run 2 weed harvesters out there.
Right,
And then we replaced it with the one new one, which could actually almost do as much as the 2 did together that we had before. So that third option is kind of in the works at the moment now, to see if we can come up with something for this summer. Some of the other more costly ones, we do work with grants and whatever, but having the equipment is one thing, having the people that can operate it is another thing. So,
yeah, well.
and unfortunately, we have to deal with employees through Ontario County with civil service, which sometimes complicates things a bit.
I appreciate you looking into it. Like I said, I'm newly elected to HVA. When something goes wrong, the HVA is always blamed. When something goes right, we never get any credit. So I'm trying to at least promote. the
Welcome to
HVA.
politics.
The other item on that list that is more actionable is a simple letter to the DEC. We had some alum dumped into the lake a couple of years ago, right? Went to the Honey Lake Task Force, and asked them to write a letter. Terry has been in communication with the DEC.
Yeah.
We are promised every 3 months. We're promised another 3
Another
months.
letter, another update.
But what we haven't approached is having the towns. We've had Pam Helming, she's written a letter. And what we'd like to do is have the towns who border on the lake write to the DEC also asking for some resolution on and a final report on that. And I don't mean to insult you, but I've had to write this before with a previous supervisor, not in this town, but I gave you
A sample.
an example letter of how you could write to the DEC.
One of the things I noticed on your thing here at the bottom is dredging feasibility. One of the things I had started to collect some information on years ago. And I discussed it with Bonnie or with
That's it.
Betsy. And then when we were over there is I was starting to collect some information on, it's not actually dredging, it's called hydrovacking. And they have done it on lakes in New York that had PCBs and those type of things on there. They have done it in lakes out west, some of the western states and stuff like that to get just nutrients out.
Mhm.
That's one of the things that I'm thinking might be a little bit more feasible than actual dredging. It's less invasive than the actual dredging is, and to try to work on some of those shallow areas and the areas that we've identified. And of course, there's been so much work done by FLCC. They've got a record of the nutrient levels that are in the core samples that they do and everything over there. So hopefully,
Sure.
Again, we're dealing with the DEC and, they have their own thoughts on how things should be done or not done, but I haven't been overly thrilled with the prior alum treatment nor this one. So I think it's about time they try to do a pilot with something else. And if they want to try the hydrovacking, I'm in.
That's something else that aeration.
Yes, an aeration.
And Terry, they are
Yep.
working on their HABs plan, so I'm not gonna certainly not gonna get into that at all. All right, appreciate your time.
Yep.
Thank you.
Go ahead, you got
I
a
have a
question?
question.
Sure.
Something that I've always been concerned about, growing up, there's always been a barge. I was in the 80s, there was a barge out there cutting weeds back then when I was a kid.
Okay,
Everyone always lived on the lake, so they always took care of their own weeds. With that aging population, also goes Airbnbs or short-term rentals. How does that fall into this also? Because those people are just potentially not helping.
yeah, there is that philosophy. You bought that house, when stuff goes along the road, you pick up the road. Pick up the stuff off the road. When things wash up on your beach, you're supposed to take care of your beach. But there gets to a point where some of these aging residents can't actually get that rake. They can go down and pick up a can or two.
Yeah, I
But
get
to
it.
try to rake and pitchfork this stuff, it just gets a little hard. And if they don't do it, what happens is next big wave washes stuff back
Yeah,
in.
and that's why I brought up the
It
short-term
ends up at
rentals,
somebody else's
because they're also not picking up their stuff for the majority of it and not doing the thing everyone else should be doing to help.
Great, if you could somehow legislate that.
Well, and I just wondered how that fit into this also, because maybe we charge them if, I don't know.
Perfect. Well, you got,
That's part of their assessment.
I also did the economic plan for the town of Richmond's comprehensive plan back in 2018. And one of the things that I looked at was property values. A lakefront property value in the town of Richmond is 5 times what that same house would cost if it was on the hillside of East Lake Road. So in some form or another, there is some extra money being already paid by those
Gotcha.
properties.
I'm also new, so.
Okay, okay. So there is that feel that, maybe we should get a little more for what we're already paid
Sure.
for, so. All right, appreciate it. Thank
All
you.
right,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Does anyone else have anything for privilege of the floor? All right, we will go on to the agenda, and the first item is to appoint Terry Granwell back onto the board to replace Frederick Mitchell, that chose to resign in the middle of his term. Would someone like to move that resolution?
I'll move it.
And a second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, Terry, come on up and
I'm coming.
we got a
But
town,
indeed,
we got a town clerk that's gonna make you swear.
I know.
Do solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York to the best of your ability as a Canadian Town Board member. You have signed.
Now you're gonna make me soft.
Yes, I am.
You gotta look through the abstract first. I don't know.
My budget's tight. No, I'm playing with some.
You're official.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Well, thank all of you for your support. I'm looking forward to another year and hopefully more than that. Ah,
Alright. You gonna go down and join in down there? I'll wait for her.
Oh, what she's doing.
Running away from home.
I guess.
Big day for Sharina, I'm assuming. She's gonna try to log in again.
I don't know.
If not, she'll be back with something.
Right, exactly.
She's coming back. Did you wanna try logging in again or?
No.
Okay. All right. We're gonna review the organizational items. First on the list is to set the mileage reimbursement rate for 2026. That's gotta change. We have a 25, 26 number issues. The IRS rate is 72.5 cents per mile. And that's where we were staying with the IRS rate, so everybody's all set with that. Okay, gonna go to the organizational items on the sheet. Kind of run down them quickly. Board meetings the second Monday of the month at 7 PM at this location. Our official newspapers, the Canandaigua Messenger. Depository is Canandaigua National Bank for the supervisor, town clerk, tax collector, and justices. In addition, the supervisor can deposit funds with New York Class. Alternate person to sign checks for the supervisor is councilperson Mark Stat. Oh, I probably gotta say that first. Mark Stat will be the deputy supervisor. Which is why he can be the alternate signer. For the town clerk, tax collector will be Stephanie Sealy, and the town justices don't have an alternate. Either one of the justices can sign their checks. They can sign their own checks. Use of a facsimile signature stamp for the town supervisor for payment of bills and payroll checks is authorized. Appointments by this board. Attorney for the town is Sheila Shalafo. Attorney for the town for criminal matters is Frederick Lester. Registrar of Vital Statistics, Eileen Schaefer. Our health officer is Kate Ott, the director over at Public Health in Ontario County. Dog control officers of the Ontario County Humane Society. Code enforcement officer is Joseph Miller. Deputy Code Enforcement Officer Richard Jokey. Records Management Officer Eileen Schaefer. Planning Board Chair is Theodore Ted Mayhood. Zoning Board of Appeals Chairperson is Ed Bott. The Assessment Review Board chooses their chairman each year when they convene. Representative to the County Planning Board is Birch Craig. Representative to Honey Lake Watershed Task Force is Terry Granwell. Appointments by individuals, town officials. I just mentioned Deputy Supervisor will be Councilman Mark Stat. Arts and cultural. I want the arts and crafts. Historian is Denise Kuhn. Budget officer is myself. Bookkeeper to the supervisor is Krista Hoover. By the town clerk, deputy town clerk, tax collector is Stephanie Sealy. And the deputy records management officer is vacant. By the highway superintendent, the deputy highway superintendent is Joe Canute. Deputy registrar is Stephanie Sealy. And court clerk is Krista Hoover. Petty cash funds, town clerk, tax collector is 150. Planning board is 50. Town justices is 200. Procedure for paying bills is by approval of the warrant, which is what we refer to as the abstract for anybody that isn't familiar with it. We can pay utility bills, payroll, medical coverage, and monthly operating expenses in advance of those, although they'll still be included in those abstracts to avoid any late fees for lapsing coverages. The mileage rate will be 72.5 cents a mile. And the salary schedule was attached. Board members all had the salary schedule and is attached to the budget when that was approved and available. Anybody have any questions on any of those items? No. You have a resolution to adopt all the organizational items.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. adoption of rules of order and procedure. This is just to maintain decorum during the course of meetings. Biggest problem will probably be me, but.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Next two resolutions are to be included in Ontario County highway bids and Livingston County highway bids. Wanna move those to black,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That one. I didn't print out the current fee schedule. Want to go over that with you, see if we need to make any changes to it. So I left that one at this point in time in case we need to make some changes to it. We can address that in February. And review of the procurement purchasing policy.
I had a question on looking it over.
Uh-huh.
It says facsimile bids. Should we not add email bids too?
Yes, probably be a good idea. Nowadays, almost everything comes by
Everything
email.
comes email and nothing comes facsimile.
Pretty much, yes, it does.
And I was just, when I was reading it over, I would probably add email. Yes.
Yep. Right down here. Okay. We will update and distribute copies of the new policy, but that change. Any other changes or comments? Motion to approve with changes?
I'll make the motion to approve the changes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Audits of the individual departments will be scheduled as available and then once completed, presented to the board for approval. And communications, most have already been mailed out to the committee. There's a blue folder wandering around. Just a couple of newsletters that came in at the last Office of the Aging and a couple other ones that came in the last couple of days. Reports, town clerk.
Came to the supervisor for the general fund, $398.99. For water billing, $120. Detail, $42.51, again, we'll have so fund. For a total disbursement of $562.50. I just gave the supervisor, first payment on the warrant for $300,000. I also printed out the annual report, which is literally just a compilation of everything that's been provided to the board each month. It just totals it all into one report. And I also have, a report of my bank file from tax collection from 2025 showing that it zeroed out in December. The total bank interest earned was $434.50. Interest and penalties, 2363.48 for a total interest, $2797.98. One return check fee for a total of $2817.98. And then the accounts were zeroed out in December to start the new tax collection, which has already begun. Tax payments are coming in pretty regularly. And that's all I have.
Anybody have any questions? Motion to approve the financial report.
I'll make a motion to approve the town clerk's report.
And a second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed. Code enforcement. Mr. Miller, anything exciting?
Nothing new to add, I just wanted to, let's say that I'll have the annual report next month,
Okay,
because we're a month behind in our reporting, but I do have to do an annual report for the state, like once a year, which is due in March anyway. So I forward both of these guys usually.
alrighty. Ted, planning board.
Planning board met December 22nd, you have the minutes. We had no applications to review, so we just had some communications among the board. I do just want to mention that I just passed out you a summary report of the number of applications. Going back to 4 years or so, broken down by site plans and subdivision application. You can see the the level of business we have. They usually come in early spring through summer and then late year, we don't have any process, so. And you can see with the 1 year, a little higher than typical. Yeah, what year that was, let's see. 2022, we have more subdivisions than normal, but that gives you an idea of the level of activity that we have. And then I did want to mention that we're gonna move the updated comprehensive plan later in your agenda. And I just want to remind you that back in town board meeting of May 8th of 2023, this board authorized our planning board to establish a research group and begin an update. That was May. Throughout the rest of the year, we did that. We established a research group, got people together, advertised for membership. And around the first of the year, shortly after that, 2024, work actually began. So 2024, 2026, about a 2-year working period, which is, I think, a record for what I've been involved in. Previously, we took about 6 years. There have been many more years before the most recent update done. But we had a good group working. They were very efficient and we really appreciate our work. And so looking forward to get the final resolution approved tonight. And that's all I had.
Alrighty. Yeah, I actually found in playing through paperwork, I found the minutes from 2024 when the subcommittee was working on things.
Right. Yep.
So
That's why
I was
the
perusing some reading this weekend.
minutes came out. Because it took a while to.
Right, yeah, because the first minutes were
Together.
January of 24.
And Caitlin here was the
Chair.
chair of that research.
Yep.
And we have a couple of other members in that group here, Jeremy Birch.
Mhm.
Well, UT was also that.
Alright.
So I've got a question. I don't remember seeing the minutes from the planning board meeting. Did I delete them when they popped into my email? Okay. All right. Because, you know, you're like 5 seconds new, just know that those didn't come out yet.
Okay. Have to
No harm, no
peruse
foul.
through the mail and see if I can figure out where they.
Great.
You didn't get.
May
all
have
we
ended
did-
up.
All we did was we turned out vouchers.
Oh.
Our remaining 2025 independents and. we
Oh, that's fine.
established the chairman, vice chair.
No need for the minute.
That's really.
You're off the hook.
That
Okay.
you might be interested in,
Thank you.
right?
Oh, you mean you want to get paid too? Alright. Jeremy,
Alrighty.
been
So,
having fun.
The month of December was quite busy for us. Several snow events. So we made 38 plow runs. And with the entire fleet, 4 runs with 1 or 2 trucks. We also had our first freezing rain event of the year, the day after Christmas. 27 degrees and rain for 5.5, 6 hours. So we made 3 runs back to back to back that evening. We're in the following morning and made another 3 runs. And then throughout the course of the weekend, we were making runs here and there just to try and scrape the hard pack and the ice off the surface of the road. And then eventually it warmed up and it turned to just plain old rain. So that did use up quite a bit of our salt supply. I did reorder, so 500 tons. I have since received that whole entire order. Since my report was made. We still need to treat the balance 120 tons with the magic -0. So when we haven't been plowing snow, we've been chasing wind
Tree
damage.
branches?
So yeah, we've had several days with 30+ mile-an-hour winds. and has knocked down trees all over town that we've had to temporarily remove from the road. And then last week, when we finally had a couple decent days, we went around town with the excavator and picked all this stuff up. We also got some cold patch last week and started filling some potholes. Tuesday last week, Parsons, which is a contractor that the DEC uses for geotechnical services. They visited the old town transfer station brush site down on Old Westlake Road. So back in 2017, they passed the Clean Water Infrastructure Act. So the DEC is going to drill 3 wells down there, test our groundwater runoff, and see if it's contaminating drinking water sources. So they were down there on Tuesday, staked out their locations of where they're going to drill these wells, and they're scheduled to be back at the beginning of February. According to the information that I got from them, that is fully funded by the DEC.
Yeah, the testing, but
Yeah,
if
the
they
testing.
find anything.
Right.
Hmm.
So I have submitted all of the requested paperwork from Senator Helming's office, along with 2 letters of support that I've received. I turned those in with my stuff to probably pull around somewhere. For the multimodal program that I am applying for, so we can finish stabilizing and paving the dirt portion of Canada Ice Hill Road. It's a $500,000 ask that I'm seeking, so. She was going to work on that here this week and submit that to the legislature to keep the process moving along. And you have my 5-year plan and my 284 agreement. That's all I have.
Can you,
You will see on the 5-year plan,
things have moved around there, I was just,
things are moved
yes,
around.
that's what I was gonna ask about.
The continuation of the paving for Canada Ice Hill Road got pushed back a year because I am waiting to see how this multimodal funding goes. And like I've always said, with trying to accomplish that, I can't let the current hard surfaces deteriorate just so I can pave the new surface. So, you know, we're trying to keep up with some of these roads that are starting to fall apart, and just make sure that we're staying on plan with maintaining them.
And is that why the Old Bald Hill South got
Yeah.
bumped? Okay,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah, so Old Bald Hill got moved up a couple years. The north end of that hasn't had really anything done to it in probably 10 years,
Okay.
and it is starting to show. So that will be on the plan for next year.
Anybody have any other questions? Yeah, I noticed when I was pulling up the thing that things had switched around.
Yeah,
so.
no, it's a it's a fluid plan, you know. Every year roads are gonna experience more wear and tear than other roads, and we're just trying to stay on top of that.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
Well, I just have a piece of information. So Jeremy, I and Chris, I checked this morning and the current round of WQAP grants have not been released yet. And that is got the almost $2 million project for Jersey Hill Road. This is concerning because this happens almost like clockwork, usually in the 3rd week of December that they're announced. So this is January 12th and they haven't been announced, but it's still pending. So that'll be a big project if that
Right.
comes in.
Right. Yeah, well, I think we have some Fleximat that is in that round of WQIP as well too, so. got quite a few different projects out there that we're seeking funding for.
Always gotta ask.
Doesn't hurt to ask.
Nope. Keep asking. 284 agreement. Any questions or comments on that? No. All right, motion for the resolution to approve the updated 5-year capital plan and the 284 agreement.
Move.
Second.
Any questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And I have the one for all of us to sign before we leave here tonight, so I guys are signing your lives away, we can do that one too. Terry, Honeywell Lake Watershed Task.
Well, I heard you guys talking before the board meeting started, but we had ice a couple weeks ago. We don't have ice today. And that's a good segue into my 1B. Now that I have time, I've been analyzing all the data we collected last summer. And the maximum surface water temperature last summer was 28.3 C, which was 2 degrees C higher than the last 20-year average, which is 3.6 degrees Fahrenheit. The cyanobacteria, blue-green algae, growth rate goes up exponentially as the water gets above 25 C. So we hit 28. So this is part of the reason we had such a severe HABs in the late summer period. Lake level is just about at the weir. We're making good progress on the Watershed Task Force newsletter. We expect to publicize it in February, hopefully before our February board meeting, but February. Bob Sloan mentioned the DEC's long-term commitment to provide a report on why their Elm pilot did not meet expectations. And Chris, for your benefit, in December of 2024, and I mean December 2024, the DEC told me early 25. And then as Bob mentioned, it just keeps rolling. And I included a letter that Senator Helmig, Dorothy and I, Bob Sloan, a couple other HVA board members appealed to Senator Helmig in late August. She wrote a letter to Commissioner Lefton. You can see it there, but I want to highlight one phrase in that letter, which I find very interesting. The DEC's goal is to release their final report this winter. Goal. So she didn't commit to release it. I won't speculate, but and my item 4 we'll talk about more later, but Betsy Landry and I continue to evaluate and look for positive case studies for an aeration system, which we think would be a better approach than another elm treatment. Elm treatments are not allowed in New York State anyway. That is my update.
Anybody have any questions or comments? We get aeration and some hydro vacuum, it'd be in good shape.
Well, aeration is, yeah, nothing is easy.
No, not at all. All right, written report from the assessor. Big standard stuff going on now. We're going in for the revale project going on this summer, so things will be pretty busy at the town hall with people coming in and out, I'm sure. Anybody's got any questions, I can convey them to Holly. Water district operations, Kate.
So, in your packet was the fourth quarter, maintenance report. And, down at the bottom, you'll see, 2025, that's the year in review. Total maintenance costs for 2025 were $35,102. 2024 was $35,191. And I would point out that 2025 also reflects the 15% increase in rates that we saw. It was kind of a catch up that Dave Rowley did once he got into position and realized that those labor rates had not been updated in 3 years. So, you know, I think we're doing really well with the water district. we've had to increase the water rate once. And so, I would compliment Christine and I assume Mark Malmandier and the other board members that set those original fees. Job well done. And then the second report that I handed out prior to the meeting is the monthly operations report. And along the side, I did a year-over-year summary of total gallons. We're just over 10 million gallons for 2025. It's approximately a 6% increase or 500,000 gallons. We have not had a significant number of new connections. But I would point out that during super cold weather, people drip their faucets. December 24 to 25, although it was lower, like I say, when you look at the year overall, we're tracking well. And next month we'll have the billing versus pumped report.
I think the longer in the changeover in people's usage is changing from being used to being on a lake and on wells.
Agreed.
They're being freer with the water than they were beforehand. I mean, if you were drawn from the lake and you didn't have a sophisticated system, you were jugging, drinking water, cooking water, and only using that for other things.
That's true.
So now you're using it for both, number one. And like I say, I think people are being less conservative with it, knowing that they don't have to.
That's funny you should say that, because what I was observing were people like using sprinklers this summer, keeping the kids cool and stuff like that, which I had not seen in previous summers.
Yeah. So I think they're not being as conservative with the water because they're not wells and it's not coming from the lake.
Right.
Well, we had a drought last summer.
Yes.
The lake was about 15 inches low.
Yes.
So that explains the
People
sprinkler.
were watering gardens.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Financial report. We got lots of stuff going on here today. Okay, now you've gotten the year-to-date revenues and expenditures, and Chad, this is kind of for your benefit, are through everything, through the books being closed the end of December of any expenses and revenues from December. However, we still have things in January and even probably early February that will hit that budget. So these are not our actual total final numbers yet. This is just what happened in the month of December. So we have things, our sales tax revenue should be coming in. Actually, the county's gotten it, but they haven't dispersed our portion of it till another week or so. That'll go towards the 25 budget, even though we're receiving it in 26. It was collected by New York State in 25, so it's a 25 revenue. And then anything that was purchased or during 25 has to go towards the 25 budget. Just because we're paying it in 26 doesn't mean it goes towards the 26 budget. So there'll be some, we may have, that's why we've got abstract 1 and abstract 13. 13 is stuff that's going towards this budget, and 1 is the one that's going towards the new budget. We may have an abstract 14 along with an abstract 2 next month. And then with any luck, we could close the books completely. So I don't know if anybody want to go down through the totals, or do we want to, you guys just, I mean, financially, we're continue to be in good shape. We always have been. We're in pretty good shape here. I do have a number of, as I was going through adjustments to get line items back where they belong. When you see a negative in the revenue lines, that means we got more revenue than we budgeted for. When you see a negative in the expenditures, it means we spent more than we budgeted for. So with that being said, you have 2 resolutions, one for A and one for DA. And the reason these are by resolution is because I'm increasing the use of fund balance in addition to making some transfers to get rid of any of the negative expenditure lines. It's always okay to have a negative in a revenue line. They like that. That means you got more revenue than than you budgeted for, but they really don't like negatives in the expenditure line.
Yeah.
And it's not that we don't have the money, it's just a matter of moving it around because our budget is just the best guesstimate. You know, and reality checks in. So, I went down through. And this, the resolutions and the transfer sheet that is just moving stuff from one expenditure account to another, without using any fund balance, is all through the use of abstract 13. So abstract 13 is in these numbers. So the only adjustments in February would be if we have any line items that we have, expenses come in between now and our February meeting that belong on 25, which I'm hoping they're usually a couple stragglers. Usually it's from highway department expenses that vendors are not on top of their things at getting things out and just don't seem to understand all of that. But for the most part, I think we've got everything pretty well in there.
So one question on the
Yep.
JCAP grant.
Yes,
If I understand correctly, we didn't spend all the money that we received.
the first resolution I found was that 10,000 was spent of the JCAP.
Right.
They must have spent the rest of it because what was spent is only 50 cents different than what was received.
Okay, so there was another.
So there
expense
was
that came
more
through.
that came through on it.
Okay.
So
thank
that
you.
was just, the original resolution only moved exactly what you had spent
Yeah,
to that point.
okay,
And this is picking up the rest of it.
okay. Then can I suggest that we block the 3 budget modification resolutions?
Absolutely.
And I would motion to approve the 3 of them. I took a quick look against the report. And like you say, some of the amounts are different because you're working with
With-
updated numbers.
Right, with 13.
Yep, looks good. Motion to
second it.
approve. Okay,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mark,
Mark,
and do we also have to approve your financial report?
yes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, all right. And here's the one so many of you have been waiting for. Adoption of the Town of Canada's Comprehensive Plan 2025 update. Resolution isn't quite what you sent me. I added more to it. Basically, I went through the whole history of it was originally done and adopted and got down through. And the current part of it is, whereas in 2024, the Canadice Planning Board established a subcommittee to begin the next review process of the master plan. Town board established the committee in resolution number 26 of 25. We conducted a public hearing on August 11th. We declared itself lead agency in resolution 61 of November. Had a second public hearing in December for comments on the plan revisions and pertaining to the New York State seeker review. Everything was publicized pursuant to part 617 of the seeker review. We declared a negative impact. And with that, we're motioning to adopt the additions and revisions. Nice job.
Very nice job. A lot of good.
And can't do it that way, but that's okay. Mr. Vastola, would you like to say anything? This has been your baby for the 4 years you were in. I know it was.
Well, that was one of the goals I had, and I'm really pleased that everyone, including the town board, including the committees and the planning board and committee. Great job. We tried to reach out to as many folks as possible. It was there. Thank you for the audience.
Mhm.
Props to Caitlin as well, and everyone else.
And I will move it on behalf of former supervisor Vastola.
Thank you. I was trying to get it done in my. That was a big goal.
Second,
I'll second.
all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Yay. Do we start now on the next one?
Never too early.
My husband has asked me not to volunteer.
Put my hand up, so I'll be in the third group.
Yeah, I can understand that. And besides that, you're just gonna start having a lot of events coming up for your department of the county too, so. All right, next three, under new business, next three, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll do that at the end. Next three resolutions are, to execute all of our software from Williamson Law Book. First one is the highway superintendent software. Second one is payroll and accounting support contracts. The last one is the town clerk plus in the water and sewer billing. I want to move those as a block.
Yes.
Motion motion to approve.
Second,
Second,
and I'd just like to, the highway superintendent is an increase of $35 for the year. The payroll and accounting is 64. And the town clerk plus and the water and sewer is, let's see, town clerk plus has no increase. And the water and sewer is up 106, just from comparison from last year. Any other comments, questions? All in favor?
If they made that a little more user friendly for the increase. One of my hit list things is to talk to Greg. They really need to get, especially the accounting thing where it's a live program. In other words, instead of having to jury rig like we do with the, December 13th and whatever that it, and have to wait to close the books for it to be posted to the schedule, that if you pull up a thing, it's
Right.
takes into account everything current. It's better than it was when I first started with it. But it, at least there's some reports in there where we can separate things out and get to them, but it
needs work.
yes.
Yes.
I think he's been wanting to sell the company for a while, and so he hasn't been putting a
I
lot of
wonder.
effort into
It's
it.
a bit of a cash cow these days.
Yes,
Yes.
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 So, all in favor?
I
Opposed, carried. The next two are appointments to the zoning board of appeals. Eric Brownell from alternate to a regular member to take the place I had served on up until December. And the second one is the appointment of Laura Ann Chamberlain is the alternate member to replace Eric.
motion to approve.
I'll second.
Any questions, comments? And I do have to say Laura's been at the last three meetings, even though she wasn't even on the board.
Great. They are looking for an alternate. Anybody want to volunteer?
For zoning?
Yeah.
No, Laura's the alternate. Eric took my place. They're full right now.
Oh, I was thinking of,
Linda hasn't decided what she's doing yet. She's leaving, she's staying. She's leaving, she's staying.
well, she had kind of a few.
Right, well, she had some surgery and stuff too, so, okay. If she does, then we will be looking for someone. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, carried. We've got distribution, there's the payroll schedule. So everybody knows when they're getting paid. I was going to work on the meeting schedule. Obviously, it's the second Monday, but when I'd like items to be submitted before the meeting and stuff, and it's gonna get to that one today. Resolution of appreciation for Rick Mitchell, serving on the town board. Would you like to?
I'll move that.
In a second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
And resolution for Mr. Vastola, former supervisor Vastola and former planning board member for a total of 17 years in the two positions.
Motion to approve. And thank you very much for the last 4 years.
Thank you.
In a second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the addendum, this resolution, received, I met with Sheila Shalafo last Friday, Thursday or Friday, for a couple of hours. She sent a new, retainer agreement for services for everything except criminal.
Right, right.
And, so I have a resolution to execute that agreement.
Is there a change in her rate or?
$10 from 190 to
Okay.
200.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's excellent.
Yep.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Chris Singer.
Me. Chris, you had on the draft agenda that you started the Richmond rec
Oh,
thing.
good. I'm glad you brought that up because I didn't wanna.
Okay,
Yeah, that was left over from last year.
Okay.
This, yep. So there is no,
okay,
and I did it with Lord of the Floor. That was one of them. That's not
okay,
it.
all right.
That was from last year.
One thing I wanna add on privilege of the floor before we see if anybody else does. My plan is hopefully during the course of this month, to be able to sit down with all staff and board members individually to know any issues, concerns, wants, dislikes.
Whining.
Whining.
Thanks.
And, you know, anything that's in the pike or working on it.
Okay.
And so we can sit down each one of them and see what's going on. And see if anybody has any suggestions of stuff we might ought to be doing. Does anybody else have anything for privilege on the floor? Chris?
I just wanted to thank everyone that's in this room for your support. It was a nice 4 years or a nice 17 years, whatever. I'm not going away. I'm still moving around. And I'll still be involved in a few things with it. But thank you, everyone.
We know what you're doing. You're going ski.
I'm done going to see. Thank you for that.
Now, are you going to the Olympics?
I am going, I'm not gonna be in the Olympics.
No, I said not. Are you going to watch the Olympics?
I'm gonna ski. We have two kids from Bristol. They all be.
Send me HEA application.
Jeremy.
It's Westlake Road it's called.
Alright, Birch.
Yes, I'd like to encourage the board and to look into the town's compliance with the open meetings law. And make
Thank
sure that all the boards are following the open meetings law. Because some boards are not publishing their agenda in a timely manner or their minutes in a timely manner. And I think it would be good for the town to evaluate how you are complying with open meetings law. The other thing that would be nice is if you would consider redesigning the town website to be more friendly and have more information up there. Some of these resolutions that you are voting on now would be nice for the public to know about before you vote on it. The 5-year plan for the highway department apparently has been changed. I didn't know about it. It'd be nice if that was available for, and you might get more feedback. So I think my point is, the more information you can get out there to people, especially now that we're gonna have a mailing list, that would be good.
One of the things that notes that I'd make, and I started a couple of months ago. And ideas of things that I want, and I had a lot of thoughts before I left office the last time, but as we all know, I was consumed with the water district. Was when I was in Canandaigua, was set up over in Canandaigua, where the whole meeting agenda got uploaded and was available. I don't know if our website can do that and where we're at.
It does, it's on there.
No, the whole packet, not just the agenda. No, the whole meeting packet.
It's everything's electronic.
Right. So something that is on the list to try to see. Another thing that's on the list that I want to do is basically like a quarterly newsletter. Would be electronic. We get submissions from, something going on in the highway department, if he knows there's a road that's gonna be closed or worked on. From the historian, newsworthy stuff, if there's gonna be events going on, even, events down in Richmond or whatever that we can do, so, I got some ideas, one bite at a time. I will warn everybody that I'm a fly by night from February through April, the middle of April, because I'm working on taxes, so I'm here, I'll be here on weekends, I'll be here nights. But you can usually track me down and find me, or Eileen can. Anybody else?
That'd be great. You know, information wants to be free.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Caitlin?
I was just gonna add that, part of, one of the first things as part of the comprehensive plan that it's suggested to look into is communications. And those items are absolutely included in it. And I think we may have suggested that maybe like a committee might be helpful to you too, so that you're not trying to get all of those things off the ground. So.
Right. I actually already spoke with Chris about working with the newsletter issue. And then we have a couple of, he had mentioned in his budget stuff, it puts them in for, you know, the 250th anniversary of the America in this summer. And he put some money into the budget of that. And then in a couple of years, we actually have our centennial going on. So couple events going on. I figure that's kind of in his wheelhouse with tourism.
Social media is a great way for communication. I see it with
Right.
Jeremy's posts, you know, I get more information there when I look at the website when it comes to highway stuff.
I just, you know, to be careful sometimes with the social media. We used to have a blog once upon a time. And it started out very, very good as being an informational. It was very basic when internet and everything was kind of started. It was very basic and stuff, and then it started getting ugly. And that's when we stopped it. So, you know, if it's, you know, disseminating information without the rebuttal is, you know, if we can set things up that way, because, you know, if somebody has an issue, they can come here, they can submit, you know, via an email or a letter or whatever else like that. We don't need to have misinformation. There's enough of it on the internet now. We don't need people telling tales. So, does anybody else have anything for privilege of the floor? With that being said, I'm gonna ask for a motion to go in executive session. Oh, you want me to pay him too? I want to keep the money in the bank. Okay, I have a motion to approve the bills.
Motion to pay the bills.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. There will be no decisions when we come out of executive session. It's to discuss some personnel issues. So executive session discuss the medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person, corporation, or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion,